our last episode, we broke in our new sawmill right by milling up some lumber and framing up a little shed. And this time around, we continue with the build process by figuring out how much siding comes out of one cedar tree and really how much doesn't.
Well, made a pretty good dent in it yesterday. Got a roof on, got it sort of weather tight, because if that weather comes today that's supposed to, at least we can stick all of our tools inside and keep them dry. So pretty good progress, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. We worked our butts off yesterday, but the camera batteries won't stay charged. This cold weather just zaps the life out of them. So we're gonna work on that little scenario for these upcoming videos, but for now, we got a little shelter. That's pretty great. All right, today it's siding day and hopefully a couple of doors we can button this thing up. So to start, we got to grab ourselves a tree. There's a pretty good cedar down here that I'm hoping will get everything we need out of it. We'll see how this goes. This is the sacrificial tree. Right in here is, in theory, where our driveway is going to go for where we're going to build a house. So it's got to come out anyways. Otherwise, I'd be a little sad about taking this one down. If I had to stake a claim and tell you my favorite tree on earth, it'd probably be a cedar. So I'm a little bummed to take it down. But it'll be firewood, siding, and kind of fun. Well, there it went, and of course the battery died. So you missed it, all the action. This bad boy is gonna make a lot of siding. Quick word of advice, do not ever call a logger a sissy. Logging is hard work. Whew. All right, gonna limb this bad boy up, chop it into manageable sized logs, and hopefully we'll do some milling today. Kind of excited about this cedar.
For those of you who don't know a whole lot about turning a log into lumber, I promise once we get a little more proficient with this thing, we'll go through a little more detail on the mill and the milling process. But for now, I can tell you the basics are sort of like trying to shove a round peg through a square hole. And the only way to make it fit is to shave off a side to square it up, flip the log over, and repeat the process again. To make beveled siding, we're shaving this 16-inch diameter log down to a 6-inch wide block, or cant as it's called. And in that process, those shavings will produce a good bunch of 1-inch thick boards that'll be used to trim out our shed. Once we get down to that 6-inch wide block, that's where the real magic happens, because those siding boards, they just peel right off the top.
Well, got ourselves a pretty good pile of cedar siding milled up. It's going on the shed. I think that'll feel like progress once we start seeing stuff up on the side. So the first step, we're going to make a story pole. I don't know what you call it, but that's what I always called it. Just do your siding layout on this pole, then you can transfer these marks onto the wall, and then it's an even layout all the way across, or all the way around, and it makes putting up siding really fast. Well, these are 6-inch wide boards. We're going to do a 1-inch overlap, and well, yeah, that's what we're going to do.
And once your layout marks are transferred to the building, you grab your trusty chalk line and hopefully a partner that's cuter than you and start snapping lines, because next, boards are going up. In our morning bit of milling, we sliced up a 15-foot long log, which we showed you, as well as another 10-footer. And the output from those two logs gave us enough boards to trim out the entire shed, cover about half of the side wall and half of the back wall. But that wasn't nearly enough.
This one's a big boy. I'm excited to see what's inside of this log. I think we're going to get a lot of boards out of this log, that's for sure. We got a ton out of the other couple that we milled up, just not enough. So we'll see how this one goes. On this end here, we got a pretty big wide bell. One of the things we got with this sawmill is what's called a toe board. So we can lift up the front of the log to kind of level it out. It seems to help salvage a lot more lumber out of a funky shaped log. So we got a couple of other things to contend with here. My guess is there's some bugs. But the other thing is on the butt end, right in here, it looks like there's a bit of rot. So we're gonna do our best to kind of cut around that and save these lobes and hopefully make some good lumber out of that. So we're gonna get to milling, see what happens with this sucker.
As much as we had high hopes for this big old log, it didn't turn out quite as we had planned. Not only was there a bunch of rot, but a whole bunch of unwelcome visitors. And Brenda, she wasn't having any part of it.
I'm not usually a killer.
Get him, Brenda, get him!
I don't want them to infect the rest of our plants. All those dead bodies. Where are we gonna hide the dead bodies? Good thing we have 40 acres.
You're getting them.
I know. This is a blender.
Well, so we cut this log here, this big top half of it, because it looked like this core was rotten, and it turns out there's a whole bunch of bugs in here, which is pretty disappointing because this is a gorgeous piece of wood. Actually, this is probably the trickiest log we've had to mill so far. Just a funky shape and a pretty funky core, so hopefully we'll be able to get some good boards out of it, but yeah, we'll get something. Not as much as we'd hoped. It really was looking like there was going to be a lot of good stuff, but not so much. That's the way it goes. Well, it's about to get dark. The sun's going down. Goes down quick here. We had a pretty good day, but we ran out of siding. We're gonna need another tree. That's gonna happen tomorrow. Who knows what we'll get done tomorrow. Seems like logging takes a lot of time, and then milling. But that last big log, we didn't get much out of that. It turned out to be mostly rot and full of bugs. So, it's on the fire. We're gonna be cozy, warm and cozy with burning bugs. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. Well, I already know what you're thinking, and yes, it's true. I'm wearing the same clothes again. Just be thankful you can't smell through your screen. We got to invest in some more cold weather work gear. This is all we got, so we got to deal with it. But I am double fisting it. That's a good thing. So today, it's starting to snow. We're going to get as much done as we can before the real big snow comes, because it's supposed to actually dump this afternoon. Ground's back to frozen. Everything's cold. But we got a little bit of siding left we can put up. We are going to need another tree. I'm not really in the mood to deal with that quite yet. So I'm going to finish out some siding. And then maybe we'll go hunt down a tree. I just haven't decided which tree's got to come down yet. We've got a lot of options. I don't know. We'll get started. Well, one thing I can tell you is this morning I woke up and realized we've been building this shed. Well, at the end of today, it'll be 1 full week we've been working on this little thing. 1 full week! The last time I built the shed was probably 10 years ago, maybe, with my good friend Leaf in his backyard. We went down to the big box store, loaded up our trucks with lumber, picked up some pizzas on the way home and a bunch of drinks. 2 days later, we had a shed ready for work Monday morning. Not so much here. It's a big difference when you gotta go cut down a tree, drag it out of the woods, mill it on a sawmill. We're still working out the efficiency stuff. For the next thing we build, which I think is going to be the solar kiln, we're going to do things a little different. We'll cover that later. But for now, siding.
And in not too much time at all, we had a few more boards up and a front door. Well, at least one of them. And not much longer after the door went up, that's when the snow started coming down. which pretty much put an end to our progress for the day, and I think pretty much puts an end to this episode. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time when we hopefully get this shed buttoned up.